We're in a bad state right now, and this is third world stuff. It's incredibly frightening. The fact that his due process rights and an indictment went up, which Fannie had to have signed, and that went up before a grand jury voted on it, that says it all.
So we understand he's got to surrender by the 25th. The debate's on the 23rd. What's the plan?
To surrender. He will surrender. Obviously, you see that there's a bit of an ego trip happening in Georgia where they're saying that they're going to force him to have a mugshot. The purpose of a mugshot is when you don't recognize someone or you think there's a flight risk. This man is the most famous person in the world, the leading candidate right now.
Well, he's got a jet.
Well, he does have a jet. I heard someone point that out at the back end. But Lena Habba there, one of Trump's attorneys, is talking about the mugshot portion of this and also just him having to turn himself in. Yet again, just keep the guy. There's gonna be more indictments coming anyway. But specifically with the mugshot, why do we need this? And actually, I remember when this came about, I was like, well, I remember when his first couple of indictments came in and he was actually looking forward to a mugshot because he wanted to campaign off it, because he wanted to fundraise off it. Something must have flipped. I'm not sure if his tanning didn't come through clearly or not, but there's something different that they don't want seen on this particular mugshot. That's just a minor point. As more things happen though, what they are centering in on is how this Georgia indictment became real. But before this, in case you guys forgot, before this, there was a bit of a leaked one. I think they called it a fictitious document that actually showed some of the things, potential charges they might bring to him, and those things actually came to fruition. And now many of Trump's folks have jumped on that to be like, ha, there's a problem. Let's give you details and I'll tell you why that's a problem. The office of the clerk for the Fulton County, Georgia court system admitted to accidentally posting a quote sample working document related to former President Trump's indictment hours before the grand jury completed its work. And in a Tuesday statement, the clerk's office said it was running a test of the system in anticipation of issues that arise with the entering of a potentially large indictment. Posting a quote sample working document related to the former United States President Donald Trump. So they're trying to figure this whole thing out, and apparently it was a mistake. A little bit more because Trump's attorneys jumped on this as a hole in the case. They said this was not a simple administrative mistake. A proposed indictment should only be in the hands of the district attorney's office, yet it somehow made its way to the clerk's office and was assigned a case number and a judge before the grand jury even deliberated. This is emblematic of the pervasive and glaring constitutional violations which have plagued this case from its very inception. So Ravana, whenever you have attorneys talking for a guy who's violated the Constitution and laws and even court orders and judge orders over and over and over again, it's kind of hard for them to start talking about how this is some huge violation of the Constitution. I do get it as a problem, by the way. So maybe it's some level of incompetence. But what I wonder is what kind of effect could this possibly have on the details and evidence that's being presented versus it just being maybe in the wrong hands or leaked a little bit early?
So I actually do believe that it was just an issue. They were just running a test to see if the system could handle it. And I don't think it'll have any implications down the road on the actual legal proceedings. But what the Trump team is trying to do is throw everything up against the wall and see what sticks. They're, of course, they can't win on the merits, so they're trying to win on the process already. So they're kind of already outlining what their defense of Trump is going to be. And once trying to attack the process doesn't work, they're just gonna try to turn the courtroom into a circus and, bang their hands on the table and start yelling. I will say for her to go on Fox News and to say, well, first of all, I'm shocked that there's anyone who's still willing to risk their reputation by representing Donald Trump. I mean, potentially risk getting indicted themselves, as we've seen happen, going to jail, as we've seen happen with his former attorneys. So, pretty risky career move and personal move for her there. But I'll say that when she was on there to say this is like a third world country, aside from the fact that that's a racist term to use, the idea that it is not right in this country for someone who violated the law to be prosecuted is absolutely absurd. In fact, it's the idea that we need to protect these political figures, these politicians from the law is actually a uniquely American thing. We don't allow them to be prosecuted. This is, somewhat novel, and it's the right thing to do. I mean, it's the democratic thing to do. You should not be above the law simply because you're the president. America's gone to great lengths to ensure that our politicians are above the law. So it's great to see them actually being taken back down to the level that we are all add as civilians, they keep saying, the Trump supporters keep saying, if it can happen to him, it can happen to you. It's been able to happen to us forever. This is the first time it can happen to him, and I'm grateful that it is.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.